Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derbies and the 2016 Bash for Cash. Demo Derby Masters. Winter Slam 2016. Ultimate Derby and Blizzard Bash and Capital City Carnage. Scioppa Racing and ScioppaRacing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good evening. Welcome to episode number 151 of the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast. Coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios here in Seneca Falls. It's been a very, very busy weekend. Hopefully everybody enjoyed their Columbus Day weekend. We had a great time. Awesome events over the course of the weekend. We're going to be talking first, before we get into recaps of the events with Casey Smith and Jeremy Gulley, regarding the Hog Wild Fall Brawl down in Stoneboro, Pennsylvania, and the San Filippo Smash in Morris, New York. We're going to be catching up with, going to be talking with Jason Koch, the two-time and defending champion. He's got a couple projects going. First, we anticipate seeing him here in a couple weeks when we get down to Woodstock, Virginia, with Penny and Jason Shipe for Chaos in the Valley. He's won that one the last 2 years. But he's also working on the Tim Tigert Memorial, which we're going to be talking with him a little bit about. Then we are going to move into a conversation with Casey Smith about Stoneboro and the Hog Wild Fall Brawl that took place on Saturday. And then we'll be talking with Jeremy Gulley as well. A couple of birthdays to make mention of. Jake Sherman celebrating a birthday over the course of the weekend. Also noticed JC Molly's down in Florida had a birthday as well, so that was cool. Just saw some neat news online that Leon Andrus has taken over I-88 Speedway in Afton. There's Jason Koch right there. We're going to be putting him into the board momentarily, and we'll be chatting with him about that event benefiting Tim Tigert, and also going to be following up on Chaos in the Valley. Jason, man, how are you?
Doing good. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing all right. So looking at the end of the month as we get closer to Chaos in the Valley, the big question is: Are you going to be able to pull this off 3 times in a row?
Well, we're hoping so. I have a feeling I'm going to be really popular, but we're going to give it the old college try anyway.
You gonna bring a pre-run down there? Or are you building fresh for this one?
What was that?
You gonna bring a fresh car down, or are you gonna use a pre-run?
It'll be a pre-run.
Is that the way to go with a show like what the rules they have down there? Is it a better move to bring a pre-run car because you can do more to it in terms of the fix-it plates and actually make the car a little bit stronger than if it were fresh, or is it just a matter of time?
Really, in my opinion, unless the rules state that it has to be fresh, I hate fresh cars. Cars always do the stupidest shit the first time you run them.
Right.
Whatever they're going to do, they usually do it the first time you run them, and then once you fix that, they're a lot more dependable and controllable, and you have some idea what you have.
So I mean, it makes it almost more predictable for what you're doing down there. How important is predictability? I mean, you're going through a heat con-C feature format. You've got to have a finger on the pulse of what the car is going to do, and you're running against stuff that's very, very hard, and it's pretty well built. That predictability give you almost a little bit of a comfort level with the car?
Oh, absolutely. If you're trying to get out of somebody's way and you don't think you're going to get out of the way, you got to know that you can square up and take the shot. Where if you have, that's the scary thing with a fresh car. If nobody's laid a bumper to your bumper yet, you don't know exactly how the car's going to react. If you got one you ran a couple times, it's taken that hit a couple times and survived it, then you catch somebody screaming wide open out of the corner of your eye, and you look up and it's like, well, it's a wheel shot or a bumper shot. The hell that you turn in, square up, and take them with the bumper.
Right.
I'm a little bit more timid about doing that with a fresh car.
It's interesting. It's a interesting perspective of it. Going into an event like Chaos in the Valley, it's the biggest show in that neck of the woods in Shenandoah County, and Jason and Penny have done a nice job at building it up to something that it draws a lot of good cars. It certainly isn't one that's going to be a walk in the park, be it the compact or the full size side of things. And also, this is the first time being on the new grounds. They unveiled the new facility, did a ton of renovations to the fairgrounds there at the fair itself back at the end of August. I mean, what's your take on what the grounds are like now that they've eliminated the stage? It's an all-new surface, and it's an absolutely huge arena. Not nearly the same elements, as narrow as that track used to be. It was long, but it wasn't real wide. This thing is just a gigantic pit to derby in.
I love the new setup. I think we're a little bit more at the mercy of the weather than we were before, as far as, now that it's clay, if you get a little precipitation, there could be problems. But I love the new setup, the design, the room. It reminds me a lot more of a Midwest or an out West setup, just because I grew up in the Midwest and I'm used to having room to romp. Right. And that was kind of the thing before. It was a little restricted on space. If you got a couple dead cars in the middle, you had to work around them. The way it is now, nothing's going to be in your way. You can have 10 dead cars out there, and you're still going to be, plenty of room to do what you need to do. So I like that setup of it a lot better. I'm real happy with the push that the Shipes have done to bring everything around and to make everything a lot more modern. It's good to see things going in the right direction. And like you said, on the competition level, if everything increases as much this year to last year as it did 2014 to 2015, the cars are going to be outrageous, and it's awesome to see. I mean, it's come so far.
In terms of that outrageous, we've seen some of the things that Sean Gokenauer's built down there. We know that Mark Wolf is going to be bringing back a pretty solid piece because he didn't get hurt hardly at all running at the fair. Mike Klinger's gone down there and run pretty well a few times, and he's got a very hot hand. He's had a remarkable season. What are you looking at in terms of getting down there? I mean, is it something where you spend a lot of time trying to research who's going to go so that you can map out a strategy, or is it a case where you've got a car that you've got that comfort level, you've got a familiarity with everything that you're bringing to the track, you've won down there twice before, just see how the cards fall and plan on being there at the end?
Yeah, for me, I try to set everything up as much as I can around what I can control. I try not to worry too much about what everybody else is bringing. I try to bring the best thing I can and drive it the best I can, and how it shakes out at the end of the night, that's going to be the outcome.
Right.
If you sit around and think about what Sean's doing or what Mike's doing or what Mark's doing, all those guys, I mean, you're going to outthink yourself so much. And to me, it's better just to have a game plan. What is the absolute best thing I can do for me, right, and attack it that way. I mean, that's what works for me anyway.
What pre-run are you bringing?
I've got a 03 and up that I've been working on for a little while. It's been good to me in the past, so I think it'll be good. And that's letting a little bit of cat out of the bag. I've been having a lot of fun with the locals. Everybody's been hounding me to death on what I'm bringing. I've told them everything. I've told them Ford wagons. I've told them Imperials. I've told them everything, just jacking with them and having some fun with it. I told everybody I'd let the cat out of the bag tonight, so there you have it. It's an 03 and up. It's an old Keystone car, so it knows its way around the block, so it'll be fun.
Do you still have that old Chrysler?
I do have. It's sitting in the barn.
How many runs does that have on it now?
Oh, shoot, Chris, I don't even have a guess.
I remember when I saw that thing at the fair, not this year, but last year. Would have been the fair 2015, I think. And right. I couldn't get over it. I mean, the thing had been run so many times, but it was still straight and narrow and fixed up, and it certainly was able to hold its own.
Yeah, it's been a good piece. I've been real happy with it, but yeah, it's still sitting in the barn. I don't think the locals would care much for it coming and playing at Chaos, but
no.
At the fair level, it's a welcome ride.
I like it. I'm anxious to see you guys again too. We haven't had a chance to get together and chat a whole lot here through the course of the summer, but I know you guys have been logging the miles. You guys were at Bash for Cash. I saw you in passing at a couple of the different shows. How has the summer been as a whole?
It's been real good to us. I mean, I've slowed down a lot this year and focused more on the bigger shows, so I haven't ran a lot of local stuff. But the son and I have started to do some promoting in the Midwest. Picking up where my best friend Tim Tiger, he passed. So we're picking up with where his shows were at. Trying to take off with those and running some memorial events and whatnot. So it's been a good summer. It really has. Bash, third place, my second year being there. I'm happy with that. It's been a good time.
Let's pick up right there. What you just mentioned, Tim Tigert, the Memorial Derby that's coming up. Walk us through what exactly has transpired and where things are at right now. You've got this event that's coming up, and it's gaining some momentum. There's a lot of talk about it on social media.
Yeah, the Turkey Derby is something that's ran for years. The last couple of years it's been a little hit or miss because Tim's been really sick. But we've picked it up as a memorial show, and this is the first annual memorial show, so it'll be I think a big growing event years going forward. But we've got a 2,500 to win pro mod class, 1,000 to win stock class, 2 different classes of trucks. We run heavy and stock trucks for 1,000 to win, 108-inch wheelbase minis for I've just bumped that purse tonight. Everybody was wanting to know why the minis paid so much less, so I told the guys, it was advertised 500 to win. You get me 30 minis. I'll bump the purse to the same as the stocks and the trucks and everything else. So
wow.
That'll be 1,000 to win also. So I mean, it's coming around good. Like you said, it's gaining some momentum. Getting some people involved. A lot of vendors want to participate, and that's good. I just want to see it take off for the drivers and selfishly. I mean, I promoted with Tim for years, and everything was a success. And I just, for his memory, I want to see things go badass and just get bigger and bigger and bigger. We always called him Big Pimp, and everything he did had to be, crazy and through the roof. And
right.
He was one of the first ones that were doing the big event tees and that kind of stuff. He got with Mark Klein with Derby tees, and hell, I've got some old Turkey Derby event tees that are just. At the time, it was stuff that only World of Outlaw guys were doing. And
right.
seeing a Derby guy do it, it was just crazy. And then now kind of everybody does it. But it was back then it was kind of the thing. So yeah, it's been really cool. I'm real excited about it. The show's definitely, I think, going to take off to be a big deal. A lot of the stuff I thought was going to be one and done is going to turn into heats just by sheer fact that I can only fit so many cars on the track at one time. So. And that's a good problem to have. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope to see everybody there.
What have we got in terms of details, the who, what, where, when, and why on that one? So if anybody wants any information, they can find it.
The show is November 26th. If you look on WeCrash, it's under the Eastern Promoters Rules and Schedules. It's the first annual Tim Tigert Memorial Turkey Derby. And it is listed on Facebook the same way you can look it up as Tim Tigert Memorial Derby. Also, it's all linked through my Facebook page and my son's Facebook page, and all accessible that way. Anybody that needs anything at all, just direct, message me direct on Facebook or my son direct, and we'll line out anything you need. My phone number is available there on the site for anybody that needs anything. So that's basically where that's at. But like I said, it's November 26th. It's in Greentown, Indiana, which is Howard County Fairgrounds.
Okay.
And a lot of the Midwest people are familiar with the area because that's pretty much where it's been for a long time. But it's a good facility, and I think it's going to be a real good time.
That sounds good. It sounds like it's with the Pro Mod class. It sounds like that right there is going to be a pretty big draw. In terms of the Pro Mods, what can we compare Pro Mod to at the Howard County Fairgrounds versus Pro Mods that we might see in Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, or even further out to the Midwest? What are we talking in terms of a Pro Mod?
I can tell you just a real quick run-of-the-mill rule set for it. Basically, we allow front and rear kickers, and I don't care what you do to the car between the front and rear kickers. The kickers aren't going to allow the car to bend, so whatever time you want to put into building the cage, I don't care. I don't limit that at all.
Wow.
So the belly of the car is not going to bend. We know that going in, and that's something that we build into it on purpose because those cars come back, and we learned that over the years that the Pro Mod guys. Back when Tim was running shows once a month, the same guys ran all the time because they had a car to do so. I've added to it a little bit. A lot of guys wanted to know about bringing their 80s bash cars. I said, well, sure, add rear kickers. So now basically what the class is it's a kicker class front and rear that allows A-arm, plate from the A-arms forward. So, unless you're bending in the spring pocket, the front's not really going to bend either. A lot of guys like that. You're allowed 4x6 patchet plates on cars, pre-ran or not. You're allowed 6 of them. So, you can really even fix up where they would bend in the spring pockets. What we're not doing, we're not allowing the straight, full-blown 5-foot cars.
Okay.
Not for personal preference. Personally, I could care less.
Right.
But that's what the drivers have asked for. For whatever reason, the guys don't like the plate steel bodies. And that's basically, in my opinion, the big difference between the 5-foot class and our Pro Mod class is just, the all plate steel bodies, and they just, they bounce off one another like hammers. Nothing ever moves.
Right.
Our Pro Mods, from the back of your hump plates back, the car can still bend. If hit hard enough, the fronts will still move and that sort of thing. And for whatever reason, we get a lot better turnout with the Pro Mod setup. We tried the 5-foot thing for a while, and it just fizzled out. And guys were like, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the terminology of turtle cars, but like Shane, the Joneses, they have what they call the turtle car. Well, for whatever reason, guys are scared to death of them. Oh, we can't beat that. We can't beat that. It's like, okay, well, what do you want to run? Because that's the way my son and I promote. It's what do you want? I don't know if you guys have ever been to Charlottesville or not, but that's where I got that from. Every time I've been to Charlottesville, the Mountain Springs Arena, the promoter at the driver meeting says, all right, guys, what do you guys want? And that's all he cares. He doesn't give a shit what the rules are. All he cares is that the drivers get what they want, and they continue to come back. And that's the way that we try to run our shows. So the drivers say, hey, we want hard Pro Mod cars, but we don't want, full-blown 5-foot cars. I'm like, okay, well, then that's what you get. So, that's kind of the best way I could describe the class, Chris, is it's a really damn hard car, but it's not a 5-foot car.
What generally takes them out? With the front end, sounds like it might move a little bit. Possibly if they build it sturdy enough, they can get the nose hold together.
Honestly, it still comes down to drivetrain and steering components. There's a lot of guys that are running aftermarket spindles and ball joints and that kind of stuff, but there's also a lot of guys that aren't yet. A lot of guys that aren't running the bash for cash level, mayhem level, that kind of stuff. The guys are still not running national level shows, might not be spending $1,500, $2,500 on steering components. So there's you can still knock the wheels off of them. A lot of guys are running in the Midwest, a lot of guys still have the 10-bolt, 12-bolt rear end, the GM 12-bolt with the 10-bolt spool. So axles can still break and rear end housing can still bend. It's not that they're not allowed to have the better stuff, just a lot of them don't. A lot of guys are, they're not running engine and transmission protection because they're running kickers. It gives guys it gives the guy that can't afford to, call, one of the checker guys up and say, hey, I need an engine cradle, and they're like, okay, well, it's $2,500. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's maybe it's $1,000, or whatever. A lot of those guys don't have that stuff. So, to answer your question, the things that are taking cars out are, transmissions are still breaking, drive lines are failing, steering brakes, that sort of thing. And in all honesty, there's still 50% of the cars still bent. I don't care, who or what you are. In any sport, you have your guys that excel, and Demolition Derby is no different.
Right.
You have guys that can build a car that 15 years later is still still straight, and you have guys that will put just as much time and effort into a car that's going to run twice if he jumps. Mm-hmm. And those guys sort out also. So it really just gives the guys a good playing field to where everybody feels like they have a shot at it, and it's a good a good growing level field. It's you'll have some guys there that you'll see at Bash, but you'll have 60 guys there that have never ran Bash. You'll have 40 guys there that have no desire to ever run Bash. So it's just a little bit different deal.
Well, it sounds neat. I like where you're going with the Pro Mod rules. The car sounds like they're still going to bend. You can patch something together and throw some kickers in and still be competitive without having to have a big exotic budget. It sounds like you're giving everybody the opportunity to go there and basically get on the same playing field, and it comes down to being able to drive the car that you've got.
That's exactly it.
Well, again, that one is going to be the 26th of November. How much have you got left to do on your car for Chaos in the Valley? You still got some work to do the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm going to be busy. I mean, I hope to have the bulk of it wrapped up by this weekend, so over the next week I can just be, fiddling and tinkering and double checking everything. But there's, I don't know. I mean, guys that know me know that I'm never done. I mean, I'll still be working on it 5 minutes before we pull out on the track, just because I can't leave anything alone.
Right.
But yeah, there's plenty of work left to be done.
You're one of those precision guys. Everything has to be just so in just a particular order, but usually that's what separates those guys that build a car that can run it forever and those guys that build a car with the same amount of time, and that's the one that's bent in 2 runs and it's junk.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer you get back what you put in, Chris, and I live for the sport. I mean, everything I do revolves around this. If I'm not at work, I'm in the shop working on the car. And it doesn't matter where you're building for. If I'm running a county fair, or if I'm, going to Ohio to run for $11,000. I mean, I can't stand anything to be half-assed, and I go over things. I mean, I'll redo things 2 and 3 times to make sure it's the way I want, and I'm just nothing's ever done.
Nothing's ever done. I like that. That can be the motto for Demolition Derby front to back, regardless of the driver, because we've often talked with Josh and Ben and Brian that no matter what type of show we're at, whether it's stock or a heavy build like what we're going to see at Chaos in the Valley, or a pro mod style show like you've got coming up on the 26th of November with the Turkey Derby, no matter what caliber drivers are there, be it the top drivers in the country like we see at Bash for Cash or Blizzard Bash, or just a county fair that we go to, someplace like Whitney Point with Broome County or Chautauqua County out in Dunkirk, no matter what, everybody is always thrashing with an all-nighter the night before the Derby and pulling into the pits and pulling across the inspection ramp, still fixing and tweaking something just to get it that extra little bit, because you never know if that's the little change that gives you 2 extra hits. That could be the little change that gave you the win.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. I mean, I've heard Pete Hansen say it to you before, and I agree with it 100%. You got to want it to get it, and you're never going to get it if you don't want it.
Right. So. Very true. Well, Jason, is there anybody else that you want to make mention of that's helping you out on the Turkey Derby show, or that's helping you with the car getting it to Chaos in the Valley?
Oh, man, I could go on for hours, but real quick, I would like to rattle off help as far as Chaos goes. General help in the shop, of course, my son and wife and Ricky Simon and Alan Anderson and those guys. But big help-wise, I mean, there's certain guys I just absolutely couldn't function without. Matt Groeschel with Joker Products I couldn't function without. Jeremy Guard Speed Shop, Rich with R&R Transmissions, Roy Turner with his rears, Josh Lee with the M1 Cradles, Adam Williams. Those are the key players that I can't function without. Those guys make everything happen every show, and that's where that's at. As far as the Turkey Derby goes, there are a whole lot of people involved in helping, and if I rattle them off, I'm going to miss somebody and upset somebody. But Derby Tees, Mark Klein's a real big help, and many other vendors that are getting involved. Jeffy's Fab Farm is going to be a one of the more known vendors that are there, and many others like them. Like I said, if I try to rattle through it, I'd miss somebody, so I'm not going to.
Right.
But there will be a list available soon on Facebook to thank everybody and list those things out to let the whole community know as a whole who's making it possible. So, and that's, I've had a lot of guys ask me, well, what's it cost to vend at the Turkey Derby? Well, what can you do for the drivers? That's my answer. I'm not telling anybody, okay, well, it's this amount or you can't do it. It's what can you do for the drivers that are supporting you? And Chris, you'd be really surprised how deep people will dig into their own pocket to support the guys that are supporting them.
Sure.
And I've been really thankful of that.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad that's pulling in the right direction, and then you got all the support with that event. Again, it's going to be in November the 26th at the Howard County Fairgrounds in Indiana. Jason, I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. I wish you the best of luck. Be safe with the build and everything, and we'll catch up with you here in, boy, it's not far. It's right around the corner. It's going to be the 22nd of 22nd of October for that Chaos in the Valley
it's
show.
not this Saturday, but the following one, so we're almost there.
Yep, 2 weeks away. Jason, man, thanks a lot for coming on the show. Always good to talk to you.
Appreciate it, buddy. Have a good one.
We'll see you later. There goes Jason Koch, 2-time defending champion, Chaos in the Valley, and also working on that Tim Tigert Memorial Show coming up in November. Good dude, and really, really looking forward to seeing him down there and running that pre-run 03 and newer that he's got put together to bring down to Chaos in the Valley. It's going to be a fun one for sure. Casey Smith due up next. I got to get him on the line here briefly. Let's see. We made mention there a couple times of Bash for Cash. It's supposed to be here within the next 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to be seeing more information from Smash It Demolition Derbies. What a busy year they had. Over 40 derbies they hosted, including Bash for Cash, which was by far and away one of the best shows of the year, like always. And we'll be seeing them. We'll be seeing them here in a couple weeks. We got Casey Smith joining us here on the hotline. Get Casey dropped in there so that we can hear from Casey. Casey wrapping up the Hog Wild Fall Brawl on Saturday. How have you recovered from that one, Casey?
We're still recovering.
Yeah, still recovering? Casey,
yeah.
Casey Smith was driving the fastest Imperial that I've ever seen, ever.
You know what? It probably is. It gets around pretty surprisingly good for a big girl, don't it? I mean,
sure
it just
does.
goes and goes. So
it's got plenty of power.
Anyway, yeah, it's surprisingly quick and nimble for an Imperial.
In reverse, no less.
What's that?
In reverse, no less. You had that thing going about 45 miles an hour in reverse.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, the tranny was strong, and it's still strong. So I did a good job on that one.
Yes, I like it.
But yeah, we're recovering, and wow, what an event! I mean, you were there, and unfortunately, with everything I was tied to that day, with overseeing vendors and some other stuff, I didn't get to watch all the show like the spectators. But I feel quite confident just from the parts that I saw that they really, really got a good show. So
it was an excellent show. I mean, front to back, that thing was awesome with the litany of one and dones. Everybody seemed like everybody was driving hard, and nobody really worried about saving anything for the end. Everything was just junk at the end of the night. The evening ended on a high note. Mike Klinger going head to head with Rick Clark the way they did. Rick Clark coming away with the win in the main event, and then that team derby that we concluded the night with was a driving clinic. It was a great show.
Yeah, and as far as that team heat goes, I gotta really give a lot of recognition to the Derby Dog guys. I guess they called it the Derby Dog team heat, and it was their idea to put that together. And they had 5 guys with some very good cars there. Obviously, that was planned to be more of an exhibition show heat for the crowd. Mm-hmm. And, Eric Bennett was the other team captain, and Eric ended up showing up solo. And it just so happened I was going through inspection, and they were giving me some grief on a couple things, and they were, taking the drill to the quarter panel like no tomorrow. And finally, I just told them, I said, "Hey guys, I ain't got time to work on this thing today." I said, "If I just jump into team heat, would you quit drilling holes in my car?"
Right.
And I said, "No, just run with him." And they're like, "You want to do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." I said, "The crowd wants the show. Let's do it." So that's what we did. But the whole evening was, I got to give them guys credit from Bad Habit. Them and the whole crew did a stellar job as far as making the calls on the track, getting the show rolling. I guess the inspections went very fairly. They didn't have any heavy negotiating going on with anybody, I guess would be the politically correct term to use there. So there was no animosity coming out of the inspection tent either way. And I think everybody got a very fair shake, and it was an even playing field. And, guys tore some stuff up.
Yes. Yes, no
Just
doubt about that.
A phenomenal job by all.
Also, Ryan Boyd was in one of the roundbacks that came out, and I don't remember the driver that was in the 869, or the 969 rather. that was on that team, because the grudge match at the end, the team format, there was 5 Derby dog cars, but there's only 4 of you guys. And that team, if I understand right, that team was basically pieced together with the stuff that was left over from the Pro class, correct?
Yeah, we went from Eric Bennett being there solo, and trust me, he was willing to take them all on, no matter what, And I jumped in there, so it was 2-on-5, and then Ryan Boyd got hung up in the Pro class seat, so he was just getting warmed up. So me and his brother Ronnie kind of conspired a little bit, and Ronnie talked him into, hey, why don't you run the team heat with them guys? And he was on board. So now we had 3, and then Nick Berkner, he runs out of the Fredonia Tire Garage too. So they did a little work to that wagon, and we had 4-on-5, and it was a party then. You know what I mean? I mean, we still had we were still a car short, and that's in a team heat, you're a car short. That's a big handicap.
Yes.
And I was fully expecting all those guys to come right after my front wheels like no tomorrow, but I just wanted to stay on the gas and stay clean of them. And, it all worked out. But, they were very good sportsmen. They ran hard. That track at Stonebro, and you know what? Me, Ryan Boyd, and Nick Berkner got more experience on that track than any of them guys out there. So you got to watch them walls on the infield side, because it gets really soft and you can get bogged down and lose some speed and even get stuck. So I think a couple of them guys got into that, not realizing it. And, in a team heat that's fast-paced, it's just like the slowest gazelle in the lions. Once one falls down, they get eaten,
Yeah. You mentioned that thing with the wall. We saw a couple guys fall victim to that. One of the trucks got stuck down in there, and then at the end of the heat that Rick Clark ended up winning, that ended when Mike Klinger got in there, and I couldn't believe the abuse that Mike Klinger's Cadillac took. And had he gotten out, it would have been a heck of a finish. But Rick Clark, he's such a good driver, he wasn't going to let him get out.
And I had a pretty good seat to see that ending, and Mike Klinger's a heck of a competitor, and he's a tough guy to beat all through PA and wherever he goes. But Rick Clark, I mean, I got to tell you, I've seen a lot of drivers out there, and that guy is so fluid and smooth on a derby track. It makes you wonder how he does it. And he always seems to end up with the upper hand.
Right. Yeah.
And he just happened to get Klinger into that position, and he just hammered away and wouldn't give him any slack. And I don't blame him, because if Mike was to get out of there, it's just more you got to deal with. So
right.
But yeah, definitely a good show. Rick did a great job. We appreciated him coming down, supporting it. And vending, he had a big spread there, and I think he sold a lot of stuff that day, just like everybody else. I know the raffle engine went over real good. That was a big topic there that day, and Mike DeFrish's Red Line.
Mm-hmm. That was a home run.
So,
he had that thing wound up a couple times over there in his vending area, and man, that motor sounded so strong.
Yeah. I mean, if it's the one I ran against, I can tell you it's a good engine. That's what I thought. In fact, I didn't really know who won it. I'm kind of hoping it went way out of the area, but I think it just went over in Ohio here.
Yeah, it didn't
Harper
go far.
Is his name that
yeah,
won
I think
it?
Yeah, Chris Harper.
There's a good chance you'll be hearing it again sometime soon, which, is great and not so great, if you know what I mean. So.
Yep. It's
But yeah, overall the event, for the first event at Stonebro of this size that we did, I think overall it was a great success, and we had tremendous support. I think the foundations are going to shake out of this real well. We obviously got a couple expenses due in yet that we're waiting on, but by the end of the week we should be able to get all that squared away and know what we got left to filter out to them. And I feel very confident it's going to be a nice, significant amount of money for the foundations.
That's excellent. Helping the Fisher House, the Matheson College Fund, and the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. Great causes. And the event front to back, there were some absolutely gorgeous cars at the Show and Shine. They gave away something like 21 trophies for that, which was insane. And then they had the motorcycle portion. They gave a bunch of awards away. In that, they had the RC event that was going on. racing both on the circle track and the indoor area for the RC Derby cars. Terry Heckathorn ended up finishing top 3 in that one. Big Dog RC has jumped on board. They're going to be having some regular RC Derby action, which is just up the road in Stoneboro. All in all, a lot of good things coming in the wake of the Hog Wild Fall Brawl. I guess the only question at this point is, with all the good that's come of it, has the Fair Board embraced it as well, and are we going to see it again there next year, and on what day?
Yeah, I can tell you the Fair Board, the Stoneboro Fair Board is a huge supporter of Demolition Derby.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a simple formula. They know when there's a derby, the stands are full,
right?
You know, and they've been really open ideas this year. In fact, just a lot of people that were probably trying to see the live stream event, I'm sure that they understood that, you know, just no signal there. The Fair Board has made the investment in bringing in a local or Armstrong cable company, and they bought the service to have into the fair. They're going to have a high-speed modem. They're going to have some very high-tech wireless antennas that will actually direct the signal right to where you guys were. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a whole different story for next year. You know, the fair itself and I don't want to commit to saying yes the next Hog Wild because we haven't 100% decided, but I can tell you at this point it's going to be very difficult to say that no, we're not going to have one. But, as long as the Fair Board's happy with everything, which I feel 110% they are, and we move forward, I truly feel that you're going to see another one of these on the schedule for next year. So
awesome. So at this point, we should kind of start planning on setting that weekend aside again?
Well, that's obviously it's a year out from this weekend. Our heads are still spinning from what went on this weekend. So until we kind of get our compass straightened around, we'll figure that out. You know, it seems like the time of year works well here that weekend. We just want to look out the calendar, you know, make sure there's no other conflicting events that we see and try to do some proper scheduling and do all the planning we did this year and apply it to the next one. And that way it can be just as successful, if not more successful.
Right on. That sounds good. Real quick before I let you go, again, congratulations on the success of the Hog Wild Fall Brawl. Was there anybody that you wanted to make mention of or that you wanted to identify as helping you out a lot? 'Cause I know there's a ton of volunteers
we got
there.
several people. Number one, the Stoneboro Fair Board for helping us and renting us the facility for what we thought was a reasonable amount and all the help they give us. Also, all of our sponsors. Reeser Automotive was a huge sponsor behind the scenes. We had a big screen program that was supposed to be going on that evening, and I got to apologize to all the drivers, all of our sponsors, and everybody that was expecting to see that. We just ended up having some technical difficulties with the lighting that was on the track. Just wasn't going to allow it to work properly on the screen. And that was a big letdown on my end because I had some really nice driver profiles put together, the reel and some sponsor reels and just a good program we were going to use that for. So, but you will see it here and there on our Facebook page and some other places. We're going to try to get it out there so everyone gets an opportunity to see what we were planning on having. But Reeser Automotive was going to be a huge part of that. Unfortunately, we didn't have them anywhere else because we thought we were going to highlight them on the big screen. But they did all the banners that you've seen there. Mm-hmm. They did the decal on the raffle car for the Super Stock. All the stick-in signs, all pretty much our hanging media that you saw around there was Reeser Automotive. And they're right out of Stoneboro, PA. And next was obviously Brent Johnson with Redline Racing Engines. Mm-hmm. I do believe the kid that won the raffle car has given Brent an order on an engine already.
Wow.
Which is a good thing. You know, nothing like a test drive and a sale, I guess. So, and of course, Mercer County State Bank, Fredonia Tire, Stoneboro Recycling, and the list goes on and on. Cobra Mining, H&H Materials, Earthscape. I think we have probably a total of about 50 supporters. So but them were the big ones. And even not that anybody's better than the other, every little part of support we had for this event is what made it successful. From the first guy that bought a ticket that morning, to the folks that volunteered and just showed up Sunday to help clean up. So, and every driver that traveled, wonderful. And also an update. I guess the young lady that had the incident in the compact, from what I understand, she's perfectly fine, nothing major, little minor injury, and she's back home. Was back home. Their families late Saturday night. So
yeah, that was Chrissy Shelters. She had
it's always a great thing.
Chrissy Shelters had to be cut out of the car, and she was complaining of some neck and back injuries, concussion, safe to say. But otherwise, she's going to be all right. I had a quick conversation with Bob Head, who was down there right next to the car as they were cutting the car apart, and it was scary. It was a scary exchange.
And that's the thing, and I got to give a big hats off to Elite Ambulance and EMS service, and also our local fire departments, Jackson Center Volunteer, Homebro, Sandy Lake, and Mercer East End. There is nothing better than to have the proper EMS people and safety crews on tracks. That's the one thing that I can't stress enough in Demolition Derby is safety. And, we're one of the only sports in motorsports where the basic safety requirement is a seatbelt, a helmet, and a pair of goggles.
Right.
And we do some crazy stuff. I mean,
very true.
And we're really fortunate, that the sport is as safe as it is, and you got to tip your hats to the inspectors and the rules and everything, because that's really what helps it go in the right direction. And any local event that's got the right safety crew, you can never have enough of it, So, but yeah, that was they did the right call there. That stuff 99% of the time always looks worse than what it is, but it's better to be precautionary and take the steps so you don't cause an issue. The rule number one is you always want to keep the accident from getting bigger. So
that's right.
That's what they did, and it's traumatic when someone's probably got a fire coat over your head and their sawzall and a roof off. But that was a collective call between the track crew from Bad Habit and the EMS crew. Mm-hmm. So that was the right call. You can always get another car.
That's right. Definitely so. Well, yep. Casey, man, I appreciate you coming on the show and hanging out with us for a little while. Again, congratulations on all the success, and we'll be looking forward to information.
Yeah, and we just want to thank you guys, too, as well. You did an awesome job plugging us every chance you got, and I really think you guys were effective in reaching out to a lot of people. And, we had people from Canada, New York, West Virginia, Maryland, Ohio, Mid-Ohio, Western Ohio. So, and I'm sure there's some people I might be missing there too, but great attendance from a great region, and we look forward to doing it again. We look forward to working with you guys too. So,
Casey, man, I appreciate it a ton. We'll be looking forward to the phone calls, and we're looking forward to the date announcements for Hog Wild 2017.
Okay, hopefully we will have that out, when we can get that planned. All right?
Sounds good to me. Thanks a lot, Casey.
Yep, have a good night. Bye.
So see you later. There goes Casey Smith celebrating the successes of the Hog Wild Fall Brawl. I just wanted to make a quick mention of Smash Demolition Derbies. Their season finally coming to an end after a very long one. I want to extend their thanks to everybody who made their season a success. They had a very, very energetic 2016 season. I am trying to find... Oh, I got some information. Let's see. Got bottled up in some of the minutia here. I got to find Jeremy Gulley's cell phone number and find out get a hold of him, and at the same time try and do that live drop. Flying solo tonight. I thought Ben was coming in, but we didn't connect there. Brian's going to be back next week. It's football season wrapping up. Again, all the success to all the drivers that helped make Smash It Demolition Derby season possible. www.smashitderby.com. And then Ultimate Derby, we got information coming up about Capital City Carnage. in the coming days. Capital City Carnage registration opened up at the 1st of October. 10,000 to win limited world class. Jeremy, are you there?
Yep.
10,000 to win limited world class. 9,000, 8,000, 7,000, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 down through 10th place and a $5,000 Mad Dog Award. $200 to enter limited world, $100 car limit. Email Candace Ultimate Derby for details there. UltimateDerby.com has more information. BlizzardBash.com is coming up right around the corner, the 10th to the 13th. I had a great conversation today with Johnny Gullo about the plans for May Mania, some neat things that are coming and the works from that, and they're going to have information. The goal is to be right around the 14th of November for details if they don't get it out any earlier. We've already got, if you can believe this, over 200 teams registered, or excuse me, over 150 teams registered, and I've got more that have come in for the Fantasy League for Capital City Carnage. SmashedEmpireMedia.com has all the details on that one. New Year's Eve party. Shop.smashedempire.com. You can get tickets there. You can also get in on the raffle car of that Chrysler Newport that Aaron Bunce is raffling off. We've got a couple cars to give away as door prizes. It's going to be a heck of a time. And everybody that we talked to said that now that the Demolition Derby season is over, they're going to put more focus on getting their stuff together and their ducks in a row for New Year's Eve. So it sounds like we're going to have record turnout there. Jeremy Gulley is going to be one of the guys that we see there, but he was one of the guys that was getting in the way of our planning because he had to hold a 100-plus car derby, and what a show it was. Jeremy, I understand that you guys have brought in more than $20,000 to donate to local families and local San Filippo research, which is absolutely awesome. An awesome show all weekend.
Yeah, we're not sure the final numbers. We're still actually getting donations from bigger businesses that had to go up and down the corporate ladder and whatnot to get us that donation. So we're still waiting on some stuff to come in, but we've been given the numbers, and the number's going to be right there close.
I think that's...
It was a great time. Had an awesome show, awesome turnout. Drivers were just on it all day.
I talked with Dan Bolton. He had a great time. Mike Green ended up coming away with the win in the Ultimate event, the San Filippo Smash at the end of the night. That was one that he was pretty proud to take that championship home, and he had to go head-to-head with that Imperial again. Those were both cars that were ran at Brookfield Wheel Days just a couple weeks ago. Chad Winney's green Imperial, the number 06 car that was driven by Mr. Van Zandt, and then Mike Green driving his Lincoln. I'm out of words. I mean, the truck heat was outstanding. And Jeremy, real quick, if we do lose you, I'll call you back on the cell number. But any thoughts from your perspective on the event as a whole?
As a whole, Chris, I really haven't taken it all in. I mean, I'm still 300 and something notifications behind on Facebook. So I really the event as a whole was just awesome. The support was I don't even have any words to describe it, to be real honest with you. We were super excited about it. I've already talked to the powers that be about a date for next year. So we are going to have a full year to plan for it for next year, and we're looking at a lot bigger things. There's a few things that we do want to discuss, before we put anything out there. But it was just amazing to be able to reach. Don't quote me on this because I'm not 100% for certain, but I do believe we're the biggest fundraiser for the Team San Filippo Foundation as an event. That is according to one of the board members. She was going to check on that for me, but never did get back to me. Pretty amazing, Basically, it took, a lot of people to make this thing come together. I mean, Josh Buell, Josh Decker were absolutely phenomenal in getting the prizes and just getting everything ironed out. And the power of Facebook is just crazy. I mean, we had people from Vermont, Massachusetts, PA, that came to show their support.
Mm-hmm.
It was just overwhelming, really.
On the topic of donations and prizes, we understand that there was a cable shifter that was taken and at this point remains unaccounted for. And Elvis Thumb sent me a message, and he said he would replace it. You just need to let him know where it's got to be shipped to, and he'll ship it right to that driver's house.
We're not. I don't want to make any assumptions, Chris. There was some prizes were on the table. Somebody might have grabbed it on accident, which is what I'm hoping. I'm always hoping for the best, and somebody will come forward and say, "Hey, I grabbed this," But I don't always want to assume the worst on everybody. We are still hoping for that, but I haven't heard about that. I'm actually on the road right now, pulled over on the side of the road, but I'm still drawing stuff back from Morris, so I had to go up and get a trailer tonight from up that way. So I haven't been on Facebook much, so that's what we're hoping for. And if it was a mistake, an honest mistake, we can get it back.
More to the point.
I am looking for the guys for the raffle truck, though. They left their brand new battery in it. And when I tore it apart, I seen this battery, and I knew it wasn't mine. So I'm trying to get a hold of the raffle guys. So if they're out there listening, give me a shout, and I want to try to get this battery back to you.
Right. Well, more to the point is we need the information on who at this point was shorted, because Elvis Thumb from E2 Sliders is wanting to make sure that gentleman's taken care of and is extended a thank you for participating in the show, and is going to buy a cable shifter to replace it so that gentleman gets what he was owed as well, regardless of the outcome with the piece that's missing at this point, be it mistake, theft, whatever. Those assumptions aside, Elvis Thumb coming through and needs to get some information from you about where that should go.
I can't say enough about him. He's been him and WCR and Jeremy Gard and
Muse.
There's just
NLR Racing,
Bridge Winery, and Big K's Body Shop. Mm-hmm. There was just a ton of vendors, and I don't even remember them all, but those are just some to name a few that gave and had prizes out there. Tyler Wood's Garage. And the vendors really, I did notice a post from WCR. Ryan Latterette personally called them up to thank them, or sent them a message to thank them for their donation, and that goes a long way. Just saying a thank you. WCR has been there for us the last two fundraisers we've done. The first one being the Kings of Old School, they donated something, and also this past week, great people. Jonathan Muse and his shifters. I can't thank them enough. We couldn't do it without without their support.
Yep. Catskill Fabrication, Mad Mike's Derby Shop, giving away Weldon centers, and Mad Mike sent up
Catskill Fab, Ryan Ostrander.
Yep. He dropped off
Boulder Hernandez won the I think it was Compact Heat, the Heat 9, the fifth Compact Heat. Is the one that got shorted, the shifter, I do believe. I'll check on that when I get home. I have his address, and I can get with Josh Decker and let him forward that, because Josh Decker actually and Buell actually handed all the prizes. So I'll just forward that information, and we'll go from there.
In terms of the Derby season, now are you done, or you still got more stuff that you got planned?
My next intentions, Derby related, is going to be the New Year's Eve party.
Yeah. You're not going to try and slap something together and take it down to Virginia?
Really, Chris?
Maybe. You never know.
I have 3 seasons in life, Chris. It's Derby season, deer season, and building season. And Derby season is starting to bleed over into my deer season.
There's no off season anymore. There's no. I
don't know. I don't know if we'll get down to Virginia or not. I'd really like to get out to a couple shows down that direction. But I don't know. I do have a nice '67 Imperial sitting in the garage and he's building. But I don't know. We'll see what's next. I think probably New Year's Eve is next for me.
Wouldn't be too bad. Wouldn't be too bad to enjoy a little bit of downtime. But Demolition Derby has no off season anymore. It's year round, and it's getting more intense year round. Everything is bleeding into the late October, November, and early March and February timeframes.
Oh, I think it's just growing. I don't necessarily see the shows in growing huge numbers, but I see there's more shows popping up. Mm-hmm. Through the seasons, which we normally don't have derbies. There's right. Now there's some derbies up north that they're running on the snow and the ice, and it's growing, and I just don't know. It's kind of getting bigger.
It was good to see a ton of drivers that we saw over there come out and support. I was glad to see Andy Vona, Brian Leonard, always good to see them. Jess Vona coming away with second place to Liz Hackett in that ladies heat early in the night. I mean, the drivers were on it. Some of the folks that had never seen it before. Ron McClung came down, and he ran.
Ron McClung came down from Canada, and he messaged me, like, I think the day before or 2 days before, and he asked me the rules, and I told him, kind of build what you got or fix what you got and bring it. We'll get you into a class. And I thought he was going to Stoneboro to the Hog Wild.
Not this.
Had left. That wasn't the case. I guess he started his Vic at 10 o'clock the morning before our Derby, drove 6 hours down here, and then had to drive home last night because I believe his son has a Derby coming up, or they had a Derby.
They had a Derby Monday. Their season,
Monday?
Yeah, like their year-end
Monday
championship was Monday. Yeah, they had some sort of.
Mike Klinger and Tiffany Hahn, they couldn't have slept.
Nope.
I mean, they drove from Stoneboro basically to here just as you did, maybe an hour or two of sleep, and then they were running on the track. And unfortunately, Tiffany, I think, broke an axle or broke the hub right off of that car, or that heat might have come out a little different. But those people that came from so far, I just want to really say thank you to. And I tried to get to everybody on the track and the day of the event, and thank them personally. I just couldn't get to it. I mean, there was just so much going on, and trying to keep everything rolling, and cars on the track and off the track, so that we didn't lose the crowd. To a lot of down. I just didn't get around to it, but
right.
I figured I would use the power of social media and try to throw that out there yesterday. But it was just a truly awesome day. I mean, hard hitting from front to back. It was. I got to figure something out. I mean, there was only like 7 cars that were able to come back for the San Filippo Cup.
Right. Kind
of reminded me of Delaware County, where the heats are so intense that nothing's left for the future. And that kind of reminded me of the San Filippo Cup.
Yep.
There was maybe 8 or 9 cars there. Well, I'm not real positive on that number, but
Derek Dellis is one of the bravest people that I've ever come across. Derek Dellis, and then there was the Allen boy in the number 15. I can't remember his first name. But those guys were in their stock compacts against the Imperial, and they had their cars short.
There was, I think it was Pat Dellis, Dakota Allen,
and
Tony Wright was actually in a 4-cylinder. Dakota at least had Illumina. Tony was in a 4-banger, and I think Pat was in a 4-cylinder as well. And I asked him, "Are you sure you don't want to go out for the compact junk run?" And actually, Tony's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go out for the compact one." Tony went out in the compact one. He won that heat, the compact junk run, and then left his car right on the track and went into the San Filippo Cup.
Yep. Guy's out of his mind. He was crazy, but everybody seemed to enjoy it. Everybody really seemed to enjoy it. Side note, I got a chance to see Todd Height after his knee surgery. He hung out up on the stage with us for a long time. Melanie Hansen was up there. Pete Hansen was up there. And they were hanging out, chatting with Martin a little bit. And Todd Height was up there, and Todd looks good after the marathon of surgeries and hospital stays that he's had to reconstruct his knee and his ankle. I wasn't sure if him coming out was a good idea, but he looked good. It was good to see him.
Yeah, I'm glad he came out. He's always been there to support us. He's constantly sending me messages and on Facebook and text messages, thinking about you and thinking about Martin and prayers and thoughts and whatnot. So it was actually nice to see him get out to that event. We had a family make the trek from Philadelphia.
Wow.
They lost their son probably 5 or 6 years ago, and they made it up to the fundraiser. And another MPS family out of Oleana, who also lost their son 2 years ago, I believe it is. They made it out, and they were just they couldn't fathom the support that the Derby community had shown that day for us,
right,
and for the kids, and it was outstanding. But
well, I'm glad everything.
For one last time for a couple months for everybody, and we'll hopefully see everybody up to the up to the New Year's Eve party.
I talked to Dan Bolton. He said he's coming. He's making plans to. Everybody's got plans to. Now that the dust for the Derby season is settled, everybody's now they're starting to talk about it a little more, which is great. And the fantasy league, that's off and rolling. There really is no breaks though. I mean, it never stops.
Yeah, I think what's Blizzard Bash is only a month away.
Yeah, 4 weeks.
Not even a month. Well, just about 30 days. I guess I forgot I'm going to that. I guess myself and Josh Buell and Mark Zaccardi and a bunch of other guys are going out to that. Speaking of Zaccardi, he's the one that won that ski ink cradle that was donated by the Hartman boys.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
I forgot all about that. I guess my next Derby related is Blizzard Bash. We're going to go out there and hopefully watch some hard-hitting action out there in the team format.
You'll get all that. You'll get all of that. It's going to be good. But we are just about out of time, and I don't want the phone to die on you. But, Jeremy, again, congratulations on the show, and it was awesome. It was great to be part of it.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Yeah, man. We'll see you later. There goes Jeremy Gulley, just having concluded the San Filippo Smash in Morris, New York. Awesome show, front to back. Man, that hour went fast. We're just about done here with episode number 151. Next week we'll be on Tuesday again, and I think that's going to end it for Tuesday shows. The 18th will be Tuesday. The 24th will be back on Monday, and then we might have another Tuesday show on the 1st of November, depending on what our family's trick-or-treating plans are, because I'm not gonna miss that. They're only going to be little and interested in trick-or-treating with us, standing with them so many times. So with Halloween falling on a Monday, we may be adjusting our schedule then as well. But next week we're going to be on Tuesday, and to close out the October editions of the podcast, we'll be back on Monday there. That'll be the Monday after. Let me check that schedule again. That will be the Monday the 24th after Chaos in the Valley, so we'll have some stuff to talk about there. That is going to do it for this edition of the Crash Course. We appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with us again on a little bit of an odd October, as we have to juggle the schedule a little bit more Tuesday action than Monday so far this month, but we'll get it straightened out for November. That's going to do it for us here. Thanks for joining us. This has been the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, only on Finger Lakes 1 in the Finger Lakes 1 studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. We'll see you next time.
The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com. The 2015 Wadena Grand Slam. Boat Lockwood Motorsports and the 2015 Keystone National. Scioppa Racing and ScioppaRacing.com. Ultimate Derby and Blizzard Bash 2015. Demo Derby Masters. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.